Live. You guys can hear me. Please let me know. We will get this started. Sorry for being a little bit late. Right into a couple of issues, but we are good to go. Let me make sure everything is set up. And I think we have a pretty fun slate today. I'm not sure exactly how exciting the race is going to end up being. I know I've said a few times this weekend that I expect this to probably be a pretty bad race in the sense of what we see on the track, but that's not to say we can't have cautions and whatnot. I'm sure we're going to get a couple of field shuffles here and there, but I do think the on-track product is probably going to be really tough to pass. You know, it's one groove, and the drivers have already been complaining about not being able to pass. I mentioned in the video yesterday, saw a tweet, I think it was from PRN, that Joey Logano was, I guess, that Ryan Blaney was 0.3 faster than the car in front of him, and it took him like 8 laps to actually finally get around him. And yeah, passing is going to be pretty tough today. So I mean, the winner is probably just going to be whoever has the best pit stop at the very end, and whoever comes out first, unless we get some crazy stuff at the end, that'll probably be your winner. So we'll see what ends up happening. I could be wrong, but I don't really see how there's going to be a ton of crazy good racing today. But trucks and Xfinity were pretty insane, just absolute wreckfest kind of. Guys were just hitting the grass and completely tearing up their cars. So we do not want to be mowing any grass today whatsoever. But I think with all the place differential we have, this does make for a pretty interesting slate. It obviously leads to a lot of chalk, but it also opens the door for opportunity to get to some of these lower owned plays that are probably not going to project as well. But sometimes, you know, you kind of have to deviate away from projections a little bit, because when you're building with projections, of course I do have floor and ceiling projections, but when you're actually building, typically most people are using mean projections, and that's not always going to tell the full potential. Like, I like Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman today in tournaments. Do they project that great? I mean, compared to like Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, no, absolutely not. But you know, there's always the scenario where these guys are just like stuck in the 20s all day, passing's impossible, and they never just get that track position. Meanwhile, Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman, they hold their track position all day, get some fast laps here and there, and that's where it can pay off. Now, is that like the most likely scenario? No, but if you're playing tournaments, you know, you don't always have to build for the most likely scenario, of course. But yeah, I mean, we have just so much place differential here. Chastain, Keselowski, Ryan Preece, Ricky Stenhouse. Down here at the bottom, I mean, there's just really no shortage of it, and it's in every single pricing range, whether it's in the 5-figure drivers, the 8 to 9K range, the 6 to 7K range. So there's definitely going to be some chalk builds today, and I don't think there is one specific chalk build that everyone's going to go to, because I've been looking at the cash lineups today, because I know everyone always asks me about, hey, what should we play for cash? And of course, there's some very obvious plays today. But I think there's a couple of routes you can go. You can go full place differential. You can go double dom if you want. I think that's probably better suited for GPPs. Or you can go one guy up front and the rest place differential, which is kind of what I would prefer if I am playing cash games today. We'll go over that. I'm sure I'm going to get questions, so I don't want to answer every single question before we even just get started. I do have a couple of donos here I wanted to get out of the way first, and I do appreciate those. As always, from CGen says, who would be your top 2 place differential plays? Well, salary aside, it's going to be Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney. I think they have the 2 best cars that are going to offer us place differential today. Ryan Blaney has had the legit best car in this tire and just the intermediates this season. I mean, I know Texas is probably going to be difficult to pass, but his car should be really fast, and I'm assuming he's going to make up some ground at some point here. And then Chase Elliott, I know he won here last year, not saying he had the best car by any means. Right place. I forget exactly what happened at the end, but I know he kind of inherited that lead when he was not the most dominant car. But you're giving me a Hendrick car at 9K, starts nearly 30th. I mean, that's really hard to pass up. And then Ross Chastain's a very close third there. But appreciate the dono, CGen. And what's up, Chris Davis? Let's try something different. If it's your money in cash on DraftKings, who are your 2 cheapest drivers in your optimal cash build? So if I am playing cash today, my projections personally like getting 2 guys up front with Kyle Larson, William Byron, just the way I project Dominator points. But I don't think that's my favorite route to go in cash games. I would select one of Larson and William Byron, and that's going to allow you to not have to go double dipping at the very bottom with like a guy, say SVG or Ty Dillon, amongst those guys. So for me, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the driver I like getting to at the very bottom. I don't think you have to go lower than that in cash games. Because if you do go the one down approach, whether you select Larson or William Byron, you can just get the PD place after that. You can grab a Chase Elliott a Ross Chastain, a Keselowski, a Ryan Preece, some combination of that. And then you should be able to select Ross Chastain quite nicely at the bottom of your lineup. If you do have to get another driver, for me, it would be Todd Gilliland, just because of the place differential. I think Justin Haley is a very intriguing GPP play, but I cannot play him in cash starting in 15. So Gilliland and Stenhouse would be my preferred punt options down low for cash games. What's up, Johnny T? First one here, as always, says, who are my FanDuel cash plays? So it's going to be pretty obvious, I think, over on FanDuel. I love Larson. I love Byron on FanDuel. I don't think they're absolute must for cash games just because, I mean, I do think one of those two will most likely end up winning and most likely dominate the race, but those dominant points don't happen as much over on FanDuel. So I like kind of dipping down to that Reddick, Blaney, Elliott range to start my builds off. And then Ross Chastain's also a very easy guy to fit in. Because, yes, I know Reddick, I know Blaney, probably not getting those dominant points, at least early on. I do think stage 2, stage 3, there'll be a factor over on DraftKings. On FanDuel, though, just being able to move up those spots completely negates the dom points that they are not getting over there. So that's my preferred starting point of the expensive drivers, Reddick and Blaney, over on FanDuel. Hello, Mom. What's up, NASCAR fan? Good luck to you all. I'll be hanging out with your future wife, family for today. Awesome. I know you guys will have fun getting ready for the wedding. Appreciate all you're doing over there. But yeah, Joey, he'll be an interesting play today. So we'll see. I'm not against Joey today, Mom, but I'm also not like over the moon about it either. There's just so many place differential plays out there. What's up, Matthew? Should we expect many cautions like in the Xfinity series yesterday? And if so, how does that help the PD plays get there? Or are there more at risk to be involved in wrecks? I mean, anybody and anyone can be involved in a wreck. So there's no, like, I can't just say, well, I think this range of drivers are going to be more likely to wreck. It could happen to anybody. I mean, Byron and Larson could take each other out at the very beginning. That would be a very unfortunate turn of events, but it's possible. Sure, I wouldn't expect that to happen, but always expect the unexpected, I guess. So I can't really say like, yeah, I think these drivers are going to be more likely to wreck, but I'm not sure how, like, Xfinity Series drivers and Truck Series drivers are much worse than the Cup Series. I don't think it's going to be as bad. I'm sure we will get some cautions today. But the name of the game to gain spots is probably going to be pit road today or just random shuffling. I mean, sure, some guys are going to be able to move. Ryan Blaney should be able to move. Tyler Reddick should be able to move. But it's not going to be like a Homestead or a Kansas where we can really see these guys get on long runs, be able to just rip spots at the very end, if that makes sense. But shoot, I mean, Chase Elliott, he started in the 20s last year and he won the race. So, I mean, it's not impossible. Got done it from Gab. Appreciate that. Says Ross Chastain, PS, tic-tac-toe with Chris Wright. Yeah. If you guys played Xfinity Series yesterday, I mean, pretty much just had the nuts. And then Justin Allgaier, I think both were at fault. Chris Wright's just really slow in the middle of the track, and then Justin Allgaier decides to run right through him as well. I mean, sure, he had to slow down, but I mean, just right through him. And that was unfortunate. I mean, Justin Allgaier was the best play on the slate, and I know Gebb was in first in a single entry for like 30 points, and I don't even think he cashed at the end. So that was very unfortunate if you guys played Xfinity yesterday, especially if you had Justin Allgaier. But Ross has just he's been the cash man all season long. I don't keep track of it personally, but I'm pretty sure someone told me in chat last week that Ross has been the most optimal driver, which makes perfect sense to me because he does the same thing every week. Qualifies around 30th, he's at a fair price point, and then he usually limps his way to a 10th or 15th place finish. Sometimes it's not pretty, but I don't care what it is as long as we get the end result. What's up, Mundo? Are DOMs important for this race or just let up on PD drivers? It's just a mix of both. I mean, you don't want to go into this race having just no Dominators, especially in tournament. Like in cash games, maybe you can get away with it if you go like Reddick Blaney to start out. I mean, you can especially do that on FanDuel, but for DraftKings, if you're trying to take down a tournament today, if Larson and Byron, one of those drivers, just completely dominates this race, which is 100% possible, you're going to want one of them in your lineup, or even Denny Hamlin, I should say. It's just easier to say the Hendrick drivers because they start in the first two rows. But I definitely think you need to mix and match the DOMs in your pool. Now, Reddick and Blaney, those kind of drivers, they are hybrids. I do think they can dominate at some point, but I would like to pair them with the driver starting close to the front that can lead laps. And that's, for me, that's a Hendrick driver today. I think one of those two, if not both, will dominate a good chunk of this race. What's up, Spread? What's up, C. Davis? Oh, Larson, Blaney, Chastain, Keselowski, Priest, Stenhouse for DraftKings Cash. For me personally, that's my favorite cash build right now. The only issue I have with it is it leaves off Chase Elliott, which is terrifying because I think he's an awesome cash play today, but you can't play everybody is the issue. So I do think right now that's my current favorite. You're just going to have to hope and pray Chase Elliott doesn't nuke you. But at the same time, if you are playing Chase Elliott, you're going to have to drop one of those drivers, which if you take out Blaney, you could go Chase Elliott. But if I do have the money for Blaney over Elliott, I am taking Blaney personally. So right now, that is my favorite. Got a donut from Spread. Appreciate that. Says you the man. Go Blaney. Hopefully you enjoyed the Theo Vaughn show last night, Spreader. I know you had a good time. But yeah, hopefully we can get a good Blaney race today. Seems like at every intermediate we have, Blaney is an absolute rocket ship. And then what do you know? He either gets wrecked, an engine blows, or something stupid happens. We just need a nice clean race from Blaney. And unfortunately, even last week, he couldn't have a nice clean race. Didn't do anything wrong, just once again, wrong place, wrong time. Keselowski terrorism strikes again. Oh, they're not going to lie. Last week was a very good DFS week. Oh, it's always nice when you get lucky at Dega and all your guys don't wreck out. What's up, Conscious? Hit the like before flight. I like that. Sounds good. What's up, Burrow? What's up, Faduni? No, I currently do not own a lawnmower, so you'd be correct. What's up, Andy? Hockey says, I feel like it's going to rain green today. Good luck. I hope it does. You know, if the drivers do what they should do, things would go well. But, you know, sometimes they don't always do what they should. The Doms for DK today. It's basically all these expensive drivers here would be your Dom pool for the main. Like I know Reddick and Blaney are starting further back, but I do think at some point they can be contenders. If you are playing them, though, I'd really recommend pairing them with one of these three. But I mean, these are like your main three Doms, like you early potential lap leaders. You can throw in Carson Hocevar in that list, of course. You can throw in Austin Cindric. They're not your typical Dom names, I should say. They were fast in practice, of course, and they qualified well, but I think they fade a bit at the end. Like I have Hocevar finishing around 10th to 12th place today. I have Cindric somewhat in that range, a little bit further back. It's just, I mean, Hocevar, if he can fend off the Hendrick cars at the beginning and he leads 30 laps and doesn't wreck out, it's a decent DK score, but the floor is so low. It's very scary. And we know Hocevar isn't exactly a model of consistency. I much more trust William Byron, Kyle Larson up there, even though Kyle Larson does have his bit of issues. But it's a little scary. But I do think you have to have Hocevar in the pool because if, say he leads 45 laps today and finishes 6th, that's pretty good at 7,400, especially if Keselowski doesn't get there or Ryan Preece. He's definitely the tournament play. And he doesn't sim that bad either for me. It's just a very, very scary play. But other than that, I really think that's kind of the Dom pool. I mean, there's just not many other drivers I would put in there. Maybe a Ty Gibbs, Bubba Wallace. Like in the tier 3 types. That's about it. Aloha, CJ. Nice of you to be here. Kevin says, who are you seeing positive leverage on today? So Daniel Suarez is currently showing a lot of positive leverage for me, starting in 25th at $6,900. I'm assuming it's just because Ryan Preece is getting a lot of ownership. He's $100 more. Keselowski's getting ownership. Then a little bit further down, Ricky Stenhouse. But Daniel Suarez, I think, might be one of the more overlooked drivers today. In this data set that I'm looking at, he's honestly has some pretty good numbers. Average finish of 10th, rank position of 16th, 5 top 15s in 6 races, 3 top 10s and 2 top 5s. I mean, that's pretty good. So Daniel Suarez is someone I'm getting to for GPPs. Didn't practice that bad either. I think he's very interesting. And, I mean, they're going to be chalky, but I mean, William Byron's still showing a lot of positive leverage for me. I do think more people go with Kyle Larson personally, just because it's Kyle Larson. He also won yesterday. So even though he is chalky, I mean, William Byron's someone I definitely want to be overweight on. Top 6 drivers to win the race. I believe, let me pull it up here. So I have it as Kyle Larson, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, and Ryan Blaney. That should be no surprise to anyone because that's what the Vegas odds are, and I'm sure that's what most people have. But yeah, sometimes you got to tip your cap to Vegas, and I think they got their odds right. So Kelsey, 4 drivers for Hendrick, Bell and Reddick, Hocevar for the win. I mean, I don't personally think Hocevar is going to win today. Can he run well? Yes, but it's one thing to qualify and practice well. It's one thing to run 400 miles and fend off the big dogs. So I don't think it'll happen, but He's obviously got the track position to work with. What's up, Bar Stanley? Appreciate that. Any drivers going to the back? Not that I know of. I think Bob is currently busy cosplaying as an IndyCar tout, so I'm not sure if he's at the... I don't think he's at the track today. I'll pull up his Twitter, though, and make sure. Nope, he's just busy posting IndyCar stuff. Don't see any drivers going to the rear. I also don't know if he's up to date on that yet. So, not sure. Nate Dogg says, leaving 1K on the table, okay. Have Haley and Suarez, or can go with Dylan and Chastain, leaving 300. I think 1,000's okay. I wouldn't push it today personally, but 1,000 I think is an all right range. I do like what you have already with Haley and Suarez personally more than Ty Dillon and Chastain, I think. Sounds better at least. But just in general, 1,000's all right. What's up, Napalm? Odds that Chris is late tomorrow. Decent chance. What's up, Ty? Larson, Blaney, Bowman, Keselowski, Priest, and Gillen. I like that. You got your main down with Larson, then just a bunch of really solid PD plays. Bowman will probably be the one that keeps you a bit different there, which I think is great for GPP. So, yeah, I can work with that. What's up, Isaiah? What's a better build for today? Doms and stack the back, or ability to balance build with place differential? I mean, I think both routes can certainly work. Optimally speaking, the builds really like a driver or two up front, then the place differential. In tournaments, you're gonna have to kind of like force it yourself to get in some of these drivers that start closer to the front. Like optimizers are not gonna like Bubba Wallace, Bowman, Haley, AJ Allmendinger, Chris Buescher, Josh Berry today. They're just not going to. It's not possible when you have all this place differential and just the way projections shake out. I mean, these guys just get shuffled back a little bit because it's so much easier for the place differential drivers to get there on average. Because hey, if there's issues that happen, and there's typically always issues at some point, these guys just end up moving up. Double Doms needed to ship. Again, it's just going to depend on what happens. Like if we have a situation where at Darlington, before things happen, William Byron leads every single lap, well, then you only need William Byron, really. But I don't expect one guy to dominate this entire race. So for me, in GPs, if you're just trying to take down the top prize, I do think 2 Doms will certainly be the way to go. May the 4th be... And yeah, it is Star Wars Day, isn't it? Not that I know anything about Star Wars. What's up, Tito? Truex or log out? Let's make some money today. I mean, the Truex or log out thing from last year was always a log out session. Maybe besides like twice. So I'm just so glad we don't have to deal with the Truex thing every week, because he always seemed like a good play and then it never ended as a good play, typically. I did not see your dono, Pugsley. Oh, sorry. I see it now. I don't know why. You just never show up for some reason. Couldn't tell you why. All right, so yeah, Byron, Blaney, Bowman, Haley, Chastain, Suarez. No, I think that's solid. I mean, you got Byron as your upfront dominator. Ryan Blaney's a hybrid guy. Bowman and Haley are really good tournament plays. Same with Suarez. Yeah, it's a perfectly fine GPP build. I think it's perfect, really. Not saying you're gonna win like everything, but it looks really good on paper. Jody says, Larson, Blaney, Gibbs, Priest, John Hunter, Nemechek, and Bowman. Yeah, Gibbs and Bowman will be the ones that determine that lineup. Everything else looks great. There's just a lot of downside with Ty Gibbs, but there is some upside. I mean, these are the kind of tracks in the past, at least, he ran very well at. And he's been turning the ship a little bit. I think the last 4 races now, he's gotten his average finish right around 10th place. So hopefully he can keep the good times rolling. It's still tough to trust him at this point, but and he says, I really don't think Blaney knows how to drive a fast car. I mean, they're not his fault. He either gets clipped or the engine blows up. There's just nothing you can do about it. Just a lot of bad luck. Like at Vegas, I mean, he just ends up getting killed because I forget who was wrecking in front of him, but ended up getting murdered. All in on Jeff Gordon. I wish we still had them driving. What's up, Daniel? How I feel about Blaney, Chastain, Elliott, Reddick, SVG, Keselowski for a DraftKings single entry. Thanks, Chris, and good luck today. I mean, SVG is tough. I mean, he's just so bad. These track types. I mean, he's been a complete disaster at the ovals. This season, he practiced slow. He qualified slow. I'm assuming Chad Fincham and Cody Ware will be the guys he beats out. Maybe Jesse Love. Maybe. If there's some DNFs, sure. I think, unless he is the DNF, which it might be a decent chance that does happen. I mean, the rest looks great, though. SVG just doesn't make me feel too good. What am I planning to do with Hocevar? I am going to be underweight on Hocevar. I don't see him holding it. I think I'd much rather trust the Hendrick drivers up front. I don't trust him to put together a completely clean race for the duration of 400 miles. It's mainly a trust thing. Like, my projections don't really hate him. I got him close to around 30 fantasy points, which, I mean, the ceiling is great, but the floor is... I'm going to trust the Hendrick cars. That's what I'm doing up front. And if they're leading laps, that means Hocevar is not leading laps, so it kind of contradicts my builds if I was heavy on Hocevar. Chase, Byron, Bowman, Priest, Dinger, and Chastain and GPP. Yeah, like that. Bowman and Dinger will be the tournament plays for that. Everything else is pretty chalky, but yeah. I like that build. Rather Briscoe over Blaney? Ooh, I don't know about that. Don't know about that one. Only thing you can build is based off of speed, and then you can't account for bad luck, and that's just what happens with Ryan Blaney quite often. But when the bad luck isn't there, I mean, he is up front. What's up, Daniels? Happy double race day. Max on the pull over Miami, looking to win 3 of my first 6 F1 races. As far as Texas goes, gotta like Hendrick up front, and then Suarez, Priest, Stanos, Smith, Gillian, Ty. I have to agree with that. I saw Miami. The F1 race is starting right when Cup does, but you know me, I do not have any interest in the F1 stuff. I've watched a couple of races, and they're just it makes Texas and makes Bristol look pretty good. At least I'll say that. What's up, Mark? Who do you have for Blaney and project? What do I have for Blaney's projected ownership today? I have him around 35-40% owned projected. He's kind of a tough. The ownership projections are kind of tough this week because there's just so many similar plays up top. Larson and Byron feel like the same exact play. Blaney and Chase Elliott feel like similar plays, but definitely an edge towards Ryan Blaney. But he's also $1,000 more expensive, so it's not as easy to get to him. And it's just ownership was tough this week. So I think we'll probably land around that 35-40% range. Got a dono here from A-Right. Appreciate that. Says, you think you'll make the transition from successful YouTuber to NASCAR driver like Cody Dennison, aka Camelot 331. I believe in you, sir. I had no idea Cody Dennison was a YouTuber. I have I played him in a few lineups before, and honestly, with all the DNFs we get in trucks sometimes, he has pulled through. But I did not know that, so thank you for the info. But no, I do not expect myself to be a NASCAR driver anytime soon. I would like to do the NASCAR racing experience thing, though, at one of the tracks. That'd be fun. What's up, LD? Best back end, mister? Please finish the race. Oh, you mean like for a cheap driver? I mean, my favorite cheap driver is Ricky Stenhouse, but I think you probably mean a little bit cheaper. For me, it's probably Gillen Haley, Nemechek right here. Ty Dillon is someone I can't get right. When I don't play him, he runs like 11th for no reason at all, and then just finishes around there. I'm like, what the heck? And then sometimes I'll have some interest in Ty Dillon, and he runs 34th, like, but he doesn't practice, and I'm like, what the heck happened? Like, how do you get Ty Dillon right? I don't know, but I do think he'll be decent this week. Probably be a borderline top 25 car. I mean, we know the colleague cars have had speed at these track types this year, so we'll see. I mean, the thing with Ty Dillon is I just can never get him to project well starting in 23rd. It's just almost impossible, it seems like. But he'll be definitely a lot faster than SVG, Cody Ware, Chad Fincham, and Jesse Love. And if it's impossible to pass and Ty Dillon just sticks it in 25th all day, you're not complaining at $5,100. How much Cindric are you getting to? Can he be a good contrarian play? I'm really just not playing Cindric today. Practice great. I just think he fades outside the top 10, and I don't think he's going to dominate. I mean, I'd rather play Hocevar because I think Hocevar at least has a better chance of dominating. I mean, Cindric would have to hold off Larson. He has to hold off Hamlin, William Byron. It does not seem like an easy path for me. And even if he does stick it in 6 all day, which again is still like more of a ceiling performance, Ryan Preece has to suck. Busher has to suck. So does Keselowski. It's just very tough. What's up, Steve? How much Cindric are you getting? Oh, I just answered that question. Daniel says, Reddick, Blaney, Logano makes for a solid GPP range. Chastain, 7 of 12 optimal, but shaky on this type. I mean, Ross overall, though, is typically pretty good intermediates in a larger sample size. I mean, if we're looking at Texas and 3 races we've had this year, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 15s, running position of 13th. For his price in that starting position, I mean, that is more than enough. Obviously, the practice times are never going to make you feel too good about Ross, but he's just one of those drivers where, I mean, if he practices good, great, but if not, I don't really get too concerned. How much is too much Larson and William Byron? I'm currently showing them optimal around roughly, I believe, around 50% of the time. But if I'm playing smaller field or 20 max type of contest, I usually try to up my highest optimal drivers just to try to get even higher on that. So, I mean, if you really, really like them, I don't think I'd go above 70 today because there's also a lot of really good plays. But they're definitely my favorite DOMs. And speaking of them, Dale says Byron's been optimal 5 out of 12 races this year, and then Larson, Bowman, Elliott all 4 out of 12. Man, they've definitely been really good. And they've made Bowman really cheap this season, pretty much all year. Chase Elliott's not super expensive this week, and even then, Larson and Byron are not that hard to get to either. What's up, John? What's up, Jeffrey? Go Alex Bowman NASCAR. He's had a decent year so far, that's for sure. Darren says, Blaney Stenhouse or Elliott and Suarez? I'm going to go with Blaney and Stenhouse there. Starting 38th is Fincham, Wurth taking on DraftKings. I have seen him pop up in a couple of builds I've just been dry running on DraftKings, but I'm going to be honest, the only way that works is if there's DNFs. Probably fairly quick in the race because Fincham is going to be extremely slow. He's going to be the slowest car on the track. Some point probably just pulls it over, so you're going to need some DNFs for Fincham to work out. He can't lose you any spots. That's the saving grace. Say the 4 cars go out and he finishes 34th. If you nail your DOMs, that can work at $4,500. He definitely makes things fit, but he will be the slowest car on the track. It's not going to be pretty. Let's go over to practice here and pull the Fincham numbers, and it's not good. So his best 1 lap was 30.39. Next best was 29.6. Or I'm not sure if that's actually in order. Hold on. No, that wasn't. No, yeah, it was 29.6, 30.39. Average speed of 30.8 for his lap times, which my head's blocking. And then Jesse Love is at 30. So he's going to be slow. That's for sure. So you need some DNFs probably pretty quick. What's up, Justin? Only playing the gurney today. Byron, Blaney, Reddick. Gregson, Recchi, John Nemechek. Don't tail it. I'm terrible at this. No, that's a good build. Up top, at least. Byron, Blaney, Reddick. The only issue is... No. I wouldn't say there's many issues with that. You're avoiding all of the chalky mid-range place differential drivers, so it'll definitely keep you different. And you're absolutely going to have to nail in all 3 of your DOMs, because if you don't nail one of them, you're probably going to get dusted by a Chase Elliott type or a Ross Chastain. But the ceiling is there in that build for sure. Bugsley says, drop $5 in Carson to win. Right before odds change, pays out $500. What odds did you get? Oh, never mind. But yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. So currently he's sitting at 1,800. I have 3 bets right now. One was before qualifying, which I don't regret, but I regret because I got worse odds. Then 2 were after qualifying. I got Denny Hamlin pre-Q plus 135 for a top 5. That's now sitting at 175, which, I mean, he looked good. I don't really know why I moved that much. So I don't regret the bet. I think he'll probably get a top 5, but we'll see. Then I made William Byron plus 115 top 5. And then I put a small sprinkle on AJ Allmendinger top 10 on Hard Rock at plus 425. Because I think I was fair at 389, if I remember correctly. So those are the only 3 bets I have right now. Nothing. I don't have any outrights. Because, I mean, it'll probably be William Byron or Kyle Larson, if we're being honest. But I just don't like the odds. And the next question is actually AJ Allmendinger top 10. I bet him at 425. That's the best I could get. But yeah, if you can get 450, I put a small sprinkle on it, though. It wasn't anything crazy. But I feel like every week you ask me that, and I'm always like, yeah, it's close. But this week we actually do have value on that. David says, shout out to Steve. What'd Steve do? No, either way, shout out to Steve, I guess. What's up, Jim? Hi, Chris. Reddick just hasn't showed up yet, so I'm baiting him. And I don't know if Reddick hasn't showed up yet. Although I don't remember every race in the back of my head. But I'm pretty sure Reddick's had some decent speed at a few races this year. But I'm just not playing Cindric personally. It's just, if he wants to beat me, he can beat me. If I'm going to play him, it's going to be on FanDuel, not DraftKings. That's where you play not Hosefar. Take it back. You play Cindric over on FanDuel rather than DraftKings, I think. Hello, Ms. Jules. Want to stop in and say hi while we get lots of wedding stuff done. Happy race day, everyone. Appreciate that. And hopefully you're enjoying Ohio. It looks nice there today. Nicer than Florida. It's just ugly and raining all day. What's up, 5-star? How do you feel about last week's DFS outcome where Logano and Priest were disqualified after the payouts were released? Well, that's just the rule. I mean, it's never been different. So even if they did pay out after, well, I'm sorry, even if they did have the news drop before they paid out, DraftKings would not have changed that. That's just in the rule book, and that's just how they've always done it. FanDuel, on the other hand, they will change it. So things did change a little bit, and I didn't even really play Logano last week or Ryan Priest, and it somehow dropped my money. I was like, what the heck? I thought it was going to save me a little bit or bump me up a little bit. I had a pretty good week last weekend, but that was interesting. But yeah, for future reference, never will change on DraftKings whether they pay it out yet or not. FanDuel, they always change it because FanDuel doesn't pay out until typically the morning or afternoon after race day. How I feel about Dinger on FanDuel? I like Dinger on FanDuel. I'm going to try to get to a couple of shares at the very least. In 20 max, I'm thinking anywhere from 10 to 20% is probably where I'm going to end up. I'm going to build after the live stream. I already built my single entry on FanDuel. It's probably going to be pretty chalky, but I really like it. It's just my optimal. So for those of you that have access to it, that's what I'm running in single entry on FanDuel personally. Is Gregson a good GPP play? Yeah, he's definitely in that tournament pool. He's pretty similar to Daniel Suarez, but for me, I've been landing on more Daniel Suarez because I get the extra place differential spots, which for me, 7 extra spots for a similar finishing position upside is pretty appealing. Any thoughts on F1 Miami? I don't like F1. That's my thoughts. What I think about Nemechek? Nemechek feels like the poor man's Ricky Stenhouse today. I guess that's the nicest way to put it. I mean, Ricky just projects better. Todd Gillen projects a little bit better. But Nemechek's my third favorite of that bunch. Like, you have the 3 cheap PD plays. It's Stenhouse, it's Gilly, it's Nemechek. How we doing, Chris? Doing good, Biggie Stacks? Hopefully you are as well. What's up, Rickster? Thoughts on Chase today? I mean, Chase Elliott is just chalk, PD. He's a good play. Is he 100% necessary? Probably not. He is in my main lineup, though, currently. Yeah, YouTube might hate you, Pugsley, for some reason. I don't know why, but I always get to it eventually. I do appreciate it. Kelly says, Haley? Nemechek or Haley, or who with 5,900 left? Oh, let me check the projections. 5,900 left. The top one is Gilland currently. Then Nemechek, then Haley. I wish Haley projected better because I just feel like he'll have the best car of those guys. But Gilly does have the safest floor of it. Blaney's your second dom. That's fine. Blaney can be your second dom today. You just have to make sure you have someone else that up front that can lead some laps early on. Oh, apologize for the ESPN notification. I'm assuming someone probably hit a home run. Bryce Harper did. What is my highest projected lineup and how would you pivot from it? Oh, what is your... Well, I don't want to give out my optimal, but I will tell you right now it projects for... It deleted. I got to rerun it. But... Sorry, I was just checking baseball really quick. I stacked Boston and it looks like the only ones that doing anything is the bottom of the order, so that's always fun. I have 1 through 4. Anyway, highest predicted lineup projects for 258.73. I'll tell you half the drivers. The starting points, Larson, Byron, Chase Elliott. And then we just have like the place differential guys at the bottom. The easiest way to pivot off of that, the thing is though, it almost feels like a pivot because I think most builds end up not going the Larson Byron route. I feel like most optimizers will probably spit out one of the two DOMs and then probably like a Blaney or a Tyler Reddick. Mine kind of weighs the Dominator is a little bit more heavy. So it's kind of already the pivot. I could see a lot of people going more so the route of, say, like William Byron or Kyle Larson with like a Blaney, Chase Elliott, Priest, or Stenhouse, that route, or Ross Chastain. So it feels like it's already a pivot off of it anyway. Because I like that optimal build for the for tournaments, really. Any interest in 20 max GPs for Logano and Briscoe? Yeah, I'm going to probably filter in a couple of them in my 20 max. I don't think I'm going to hand build with them. I guess on both sites, they're both priced pretty similar to each other, but Joey projects better than Chase Briscoe. I mean, you're giving me 5 extra PD spots. Thoughts on Zane? Zane feels like Justin Haley, where they're never going to project well for where they're starting. Because I just can't have Justin Haley projected for like a 13th place finish or Zane to finish projected 10. But if I was going to play one, it would be Justin Haley, personally. It's just so likely that a guy like Zane Smith ends up moving back a bit. The floor is so low. I mean, they have to have a perfect race. And that's always... You can't just project people to have a perfect race, if you know what I mean. What's up, Bull? Blaney had one of the fastest cars all year, just has terrible luck. Yeah, absolutely. He's been so good this year. But, I mean, if you're just looking at the finishes and what, I mean, he looks horrible, but he's had a super fast car. What's up, Jeff? Says, thanks. I took first place in the $9 entry last week. My first NASCAR. That's awesome, Jeff. I'm happy for you. Hopefully it was a good payout. Congratulations. And it's pretty hard to do with Dega, too. But... You know, last week's Dega race, so, I mean, I always say you can't really project Dega too well, but that honestly felt like the most projectable Dega race ever. Really, Austin Cindric wins, the Hendrick drivers finished up front, and good chunk of the PD plays just ended up, I mean, it was like super projectable for some reason, which was great. I wasn't complaining. I know everyone was rooting for a good finish at the end, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, please don't wreck each other. just keep it how it is. And fortunately, the Hendrick drivers didn't choose to be terrorists. They just accepted their fate, finishing the second row, which was great. What's up, Yancey? FanDuel single entry, Suarez, Haley, Blaney, Reddick, Elliott. Is there anybody else that you like on FanDuel? I mean, there's definitely more than 5 drivers I like on FanDuel. I know exactly if you mean like to pivot off of that specifically. But my main build does have 3 of those drivers currently. So, I mean, we're not far off. But I feel like that leaves a lot of money on the table. Because if I have those 3 drivers and I have 2 more expensive drivers and Suarez and Haley, it definitely does leave a lot of money on the table. What's up, Paul? I only play MLB and NFL DFS to save 20 laps for NASCAR, but I have no idea what to do. Help. Well, hopefully the whole thing's been helping so far. I don't know really how to start from scratch. But you're mainly just picking a couple of dominators from your lineup and then a couple of place differentials just to put it in the simplest terms possible. Like, hey, I think Larson or Byron's going to lead some laps today. Let me throw him in my lineup. I think Chase Hutt's going to gain a lot of spots from starting in 29th. I think Chastain's going to do that. I think Priest is going to do that. Well, now I need a cheap driver. Well, we're looking at Stenhouse. We're looking at Gilly, Nemechek, their options. That's like the crash course on it, I guess. What's up, John? Always appreciate your advice. Who do you have finishing better head-to-head? Reddick versus Elliott. I have Reddick. Suarez versus Bubba. I have Bubba. And then Chastain versus Keselowski. That's a close one. I gotta check on that one. We have currently a slight edge to Chastain on that one. And then Cindric over Logano. Hopefully that helps. What's up, Mad Dog? Larson, Gibbs, Cindric, Busher, Haley, and that's a little bit too much DBP-ish for me. I think one or two of the Gibbs, Cindric, Busher, Haley group would be good enough. I think all four of them, it's pretty unlikely that they all hit. What's up, Adam? I remember your comment yesterday said you're going to the track and your first race, so have a blast. I hope Texas is good to you. I know I kind of said it's probably not going to be the great race, but I could be wrong, for sure. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully you enjoy it. But when you're at the track, it's hard not to enjoy it, especially if it's your first time. I remember my first time going to Homestead, and it was awesome. So hopefully you have the same experience at Texas. Bull, you did the NASCAR racing experience at Kentucky? Was it fun? I feel like it'd be scary. I don't know if I could handle a car going that fast. I don't drive much. I drive. Everything I need is like half a mile away from me, so I don't do too much driving. Thoughts on Briscoe this week? I mean, I think he'll move up, but the problem is he's right by Logano, he's right by Elliott. He's just in a really tough range for me where I'm not getting to him much. If I'm going to play him, it's going to be on FanDuel just because he's a little bit cheaper than those other guys, but I am not like over the moon about him. Cody has 300,000. Does he just do like racing stuff, I assume? Probably. I'll have to check it out. Got a donor from Geb. Again, appreciate that. That's funny. That's funny if you're in Discord because it's an inside joke. But yeah, that's definitely an inside. I can't even explain it. What's up, Lucas? Hey man, hope all is well. How does Larson, Byron, Elliott, Chastain, Haley, and Ty Dillon sound for a single entry? I mean, if you understand the risk with Haley and Ty Dillon, but they might have the speed. They might have the speed, the top 20 today. If that does happen, I love the rest. It looks good. For sure. She's not home spread. She's in Ohio right now. So she couldn't get on. She doesn't have the Xbox. Any love for Belt today? Not really. Which, Sean, we were talking in Discord earlier. Sean said that's always when Bell goes off when nobody has interest. And while I kind of agree with that, it's just so tough. Like, 8 spots further up front than Ryan Blaney. I think Blaney's going to be better today. He starts 9 spots further up than Logano. Really tough to get to Bell. And I got to start crossing some people off. So if Bell beats me today, I'll just have to eat it. But I'm comfortable being very, very low on Bell. My best lineup is Larson, Byron, Halen, Suarez, Nemechek, and Ty Dillon. Thoughts? I mean, it works. It follows the rules that I would follow today. Nemechek or Haley. Nemechek projects better for me. I want to say Haley. I mean, my heart wants to say Haley. Projections say Nemechek, and that's just mainly the place differential thing. Like, if there's any issues with Haley today and he finishes 24th, that's just not good enough. The upside, though, is he finishes 13th. But we can say that for a lot of drivers. We can't just view everybody at their ceiling. No talk on the dinger. I mean, I like the dinger today. I only talk about people if they ask me questions about him at this point. So I do like Edge Allmendinger today. If you're looking at how he's performed, I mean, he was obviously very quick in practice, but if you look at his sample size here, we have 4 races, running position of 13th, 2 top 10s. He's been very good this season specifically. His quality cards have looked pretty good. I mean, again, if he hits his ceiling, we're talking like an 8th place finish if he hits that ceiling, but there's always downside mixed in too. So it's just one of those reasons where guys like AJ Allmendinger, guys like Zane Smith, guys like Justin Haley, they're just not going to project well on average because there's obviously a lot of randomness in NASCAR races. There's things that can happen that are not in the driver's control. We've seen that many times before. So you just can't project them at their ceilings, and that's why they're not going to look too good on a mean projection basis. So if you're playing them, you kind of almost have to force them in, or if you're doing hand builds, obviously you don't have to worry about what the optimizer gives you. But hopefully that makes sense. Chastain or Elliott? If you have the money, I'm going Chase. I think I answered that Briscoe one. Jules is indeed the GOAT. I can't disagree with that. Best value option, $5,600 and under. It's going to be Nemechek for me, but it's really ugly. Really, really ugly. But it'll be John Hunter. Okay, Dwayne says, seems like the move for GPP single entry will be to fade the back and stack the front, Byron Larson, then stack the value in the back, Gregson. Yeah, I like that. I think that move's pretty solid. No, and again, I am not saying Larson's definitely not going to be low owned. I think Byron might be a little bit lower owned than Larson, but I'm going to be honest, that's very difficult to project personally for me. It's going to depend on what some of the other sites have it projection-wise. I have Larson slightly edging out William Byron in projection, and I think that's pretty much just because of the 2 extra PD spots, because I had them, I think, projected almost identical for their Dominator points today. So it's very close. I think Kyle Larson's probably the better name. People are just always comfortable clicking on Kyle Larson. He has the better odds. So it'll probably be a slight edge there, at least in ownership purposes. Jeff says, Chase Briscoe top 10 plus 120 on DK. I don't think I am. I am not showing value on that. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying for me personally, it's not showing value. Bugsy says, Chris, ignore my bet. Just realized I made a goof. Okay, I was a little bit curious. I was like, it seemed a little off. Spread says, Rex Benhouse currently does not have a finish worse than 25th this year. It's a stat I wouldn't believe, but I am going to believe you because I don't think you'd lie to me. And he was having a good race last year, too. I mean, he's just good at these intermediate style tracks. I mean, I think Stenhouse will have some decent speed today. I don't think he's going to be running in the 30s. Will says, try me like a 20 max this year. It's totally different building strategy. We're on the way underweight strategy of Larson. It's definitely scary, but I mean, I love them. They're my 2 favorite plays in the slate today for sure. But if anything happens to him, you'll have the leverage on Hamlin. And I don't think anyone's given me one Denny Hamlin question today, which maybe he's gonna be lower on than I thought. But I mean, he's not too far off of the Byron and Larson train, I don't think. So yeah, I really don't think I've had one Denny Hamlin question or one question with the lineup of him in it. Keep it leafy. Appreciate the dono. Says, thoughts on Gregson, or do you prefer someone under 7,000 last spot to fill? If you have Daniel Suarez available, I would like Suarez. But projection wise, it does go Suarez and Gregson in order. But for me, it'd be old Daniel there. Johnny Z says Byron and Larson or Byron and Reddick. Or Blaney. I mean, projections like Byron and Larson kind of depends on the rest of your build. But just from a projection standpoint, it's going to be Byron and Larson. Is that Matthew? How are you building with Hamlin? Do we pair him? Finally, a Hamlin question. Do we pair him with Larson or Byron or Blaney? If I am playing Hamlin, I'd prefer to pair him with a Reddick or Blaney personally. Not saying you can't do the Larson Byron route. But I mean, projections are going to like that more, but I think it kind of makes more sense to pair Hamlin with a Blaney or Tyler Reddick. Paul says F1 is super boring. I agree. It's really rough. Thank you, LD. 2,200 on Logano today. Shock or no surprise? I'm going to doubt that I show value on that. Yeah, I show value just under 40 to 1. No. Yeah, I'm I don't really think the way Joey wins is if he gets lucky with fuel mileage or just some random caution. That's how Joey Logano wins races, pretty much. Unless it's a super speedway. Appreciate that, Morningwood. I wish I didn't say the name out loud, but all right. Hardly ever play NASCAR, but you had me at the top leaderboard all day last week. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Hopefully I don't know if you stayed up there, but hopefully you did. Who I like better between Stenhouse, Gilly, Haley, and Nemechek, regardless of salary? Oh, for me, it's definitely going to be Stenhouse. Best driver under $5,400. I don't think that exists, but I guess it would be Ty Dillon. Stress is off topic, but your Browns drafted 2 quarterbacks. Technically, they have 5 now. Hey, let's just make it 10 at some point. Why stop now? Yeah, I have no hope in the Browns, but hopefully one of them is good. Hopefully. We have a corpse in Flacco. We have Sanders. Who knows if that's going to be good or not. Gabriel's under 6 foot in height. I don't know. Maybe one of them will do something. Who knows? Blaney and Priest or Elliott and Chastain for a GBP. Projection-wise, it's going to be Elliott and Chastain. I mean, both options are chalky, so I don't really think that matters. Allmendinger top 10, 400 seems like good value. Well, you can get 425 over on Hard Rock if you have that book, so I would recommend doing that. But yeah, 400 does show value for me on Dinger top 10. Reddick or Hamlin on DraftKings, I would prefer Reddick. You can leave some cash on the table, Humble, but I wouldn't personally try to. I mean, this is a race where you're going to want the big dogs in your build. It's not like last week. Josh Berry, Chris Buescher. I would personally rather play Chris Buescher. You get the extra PD spots, and I think at the end of the day, they probably finish very similar. And Buescher's had some pretty decent finishes this year. So John says, darn it, CP, I have 0 Denny, and now I'm scared. Well, that's the thing. I've gotten like 0 Denny questions today, which, I mean, I understand. Denny is the hardest guy to get to in the 5-figure range. I mean, Larson and Byron are easy clicks because it's Hendrick. They project awesome. Why not? And then Reddick and Blaney, they have the place differential upside. So it's like, why would I select Denny Hamlin, right? But if you're building like 20 max, 150 max, I mean, I would definitely get some Denny Hamlin in there. He should not be forgotten about at a track like this. That's for sure. Is that Timothy? Just join. Favorite cash or flag plants? Cash games, I think you want one of Larson and William Byron. Then after that, just fill in the PD as it fits. Whether that be Blaney Elliott, Ross Chastain, Ryan Priest, Keselowski, Stenhouse. Some mixture of that and it fits somehow. Trey says, I put $10 on Spinhouse, $1,700. Well, I did not say to bet him to win, so just know that. But I do like him for DFS purposes. But in the insane chance that Stenhouse does win this race, I'll forever remember you as a legend in here. That's for sure. Having 5 QB means you have no... Well, that's true too. That is true. The only good QB we've had my lifetime is, I guess, Baker. That's pretty much it seems like. I mean, he's much better in Tampa than he was in Cleveland. What has... I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to say what you're typing there. Briscoe or Elliott? I'm gonna go with Chase there, Chris. Viper says for fantasy, what do you think? Gibbs, Hamlin, Cindric, Reddick, Larson, Byron. I mean, for me, I just don't really like the Cindric play too much today. I understand the thought process of he could get some Dominator points and stay up there and get good practice speeds. I just think it's likely he moves back. And plus, you already have Ty Gibbs, so we're kind of running ourselves thin on those kind of plays. I'd rather have Ty Gibbs over Cindric. I like Stenhouse over Austin Dillon over on FanDuel. Tyler. Yeah, if you have 9,500 left, I would go with Chase Elliott as well. I agree with spread. First time playing NASCAR, I got Larson, Stenhouse, Suarez, Nemechek, and Byron. That seems like it leaves a lot of money on the table. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, I got your next one. Okay, never mind. I get it. I was reading it backwards. Oh, I got you, Napalm. The Browns have not done anything for me in my lifetime besides pain and despair. Did my best lineup leave 500 for DraftKings? My optimal leaves $100 on the table. If that's the question you're asking me. Hello, C. Mitch. Thoughts on Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch, both slow in practice. Like last year, they finished top 10 last year. Don't forget things. I forget exactly how Texas finished last season. I just know things got screwed up because pretty sure Denny was going to win the race, and then he ends up not finishing, I think, on the top 20. Things got stupid at the end, so I'm not going to lie. I don't remember if they shuffled back or not, but I just don't really... I mean, Kyle Busch has PD. He doesn't project the worst today. It's just there's so many other plays to get to. Kind of a tougher click. Austin Dillon, he starts 19th. We have Ricky Stenhouse down there, Suarez, Gregson. Having a tougher time getting there. Roddy says, Larson will win. Thanks for everything, Chris. You kick butt. Smash the like. Yeah, appreciate that, Roddy Dorito. Yeah, one of my favorite names to say every single week. What's up, Josh? Is Byron, Blaney, Elliott, Priest, and Nelson Suarez too chalky for GBP? I mean, it's chalky, but if you're like in a single entry, I think it's all right. I mean, Suarez won't be like pure chalk today. Kind of depends on the contest size, I guess. I have Driver starting 24th and back. Should I rebuild? Probably if it's a tournament. I don't really think you're getting your full potential for Dominator points. Spread says C-Pen drove 12 miles total in 4 years. Yeah, I have a 2014 car and it's got like 20,000 miles on it. So I don't drive. What's up, Johnny? Last two for FanDuel, Brad Keselowski and Cindric, or Ross and Priest. I know exactly what lineup you have, Johnny, and I am running the Ross and Priest one. I know exactly which lineup you have. And I appreciate the donuts, sir. Yeah, no problem, Napalm. Bell is great at holding his position. Well, Bell holds his position today. That's not going to be too good starting in 16th. That's for sure. Am I fading Bubba today? No, I am playing Bubba. Like, he's one of those drivers that it's not going to project that great starting in 9th, but I'm going to force him into a few because I do think that top 5 potential is there. Haley, I've been saying, this is what I've said about Haley. The track data looks good for him. Practice wasn't bad. It's just starting in 15th, he has to have that ceiling outcome for him to work out, which is possible, yes. So he's not going to project well on an average basis. He's just one of those drivers you kind of have to force in if you want more. But I don't think he's a bad play. Blenny and Nemechek or Chastain and Keselowski? I'll go with Chastain and Keselowski there. Bubba's projections went up because his car is so sweet. I don't know. I don't even remember what Bubba's car looks like this week, actually. I know the Reddit car is amazing. I forget what Bubba's car looks like, to be honest. Can I share the spreadsheet? Well, no, I don't think. Patreon members would not like that. I give it out for free. But there's a lot of stuff on there. So if you guys ever want to check it out, you can get a free trial and check out all the data. There's a bunch of other stuff than what I'm just showing you right here. This is just the YouTube screen pretty much. But I think we got to the end. I don't see any more questions. If I missed something, I apologize. Steve says, hey, took until I was 40 for the Eagles to finally win a Super Bowl. Now they've just won a second. So keep your head up, Chris, with the Browns. We'll try. I've been alive for 26 years, and I think we went to the playoffs, what, twice? 3 times? Something like that? But, yeah. All right, anyway, I think I got out of here. I don't remember which race is next week. Before I get out of here, I need to confirm that, because, let's see, schedule. We are going to Kansas. That should be I'm excited for Kansas. Oops. I don't mean to black the screens. Kansas should be good, hopefully. Had some really good races there in the next gen era. No, you're good, Matt. You don't have to apologize. But yeah. All right. I got to get out here and build. I have only built one lineup and I have a lot more to build than that. But I appreciate y'all being here. Fun stream. Hope for the best. Hopefully the Hendrick cars do their job up front. Hopefully the place differential guys that we play, they get there. And hopefully the low end guys don't wreck out and regret our decisions.